on to our last item of the day here for these Elections and Constitutional Amendments Committee. It's ACA 8. We will ask Assemblymember Wilson to come forward. You may proceed when ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Senators. I'm pleased to speak with you today regarding Assembly Constitutional Amendment, ACA 8, the End Slavery in California Act. This is a California Legislative Black Caucus priority and a part of our reparations package. I first want to start by accepting the committee amendments. I appreciate the thoughtful consideration of you, Madam Chair, and your predecessor, as well as the staff who've worked really hard to get us to this point. Also noting that while working through these amends, we did have local govs bring up potential impacts as it relates to jails. So we are working with them to address them, and it may be in ACA 8 or our companion bill, AB 628. So this is just an FYI. So back to ACA 8. This measure would allow Californians the opportunity to amend Article 1, Section 6 of the state constitution to prohibit slavery in any form without exception. Today, slavery takes on modern forms. As noted on the U.S. Department of State website, the modern form of slavery as it relates to involuntary servitude includes sex trafficking, child sex trafficking, forced labor, bonded labor or debt bondage, domestic servitude, forced child labor, unlawful recruitment, and use of child soldiers. So in any form, slavery would be prohibited here in the state of California. And it should be noted that because it's wrong in all forms, California should be explicitly clear in denouncing that in our Constitution. California is among only 16 states with an exception clause for involuntary servitude in its state constitution. Most recently, voters in Alabama, Oregon, Tennessee, and Vermont removed involuntary servitude language from their state constitutions. Incarcerated people have long faced cruel treatment for any work absences. This includes physical violence, solitary confinement, denial of phone calls and family visits, and limiting participation in self-help groups, and disciplinary write-ups that result in longer prison terms. Such punishments or threats of such punishments are often used even when absences are due to illnesses or injuries sustained through the work. The current practice of forced labor does not prepare incarcerated people for success upon reentry and often prevents participation in rehabilitative services. Let me say it a different way. Rehabilitative services should not be forced labor, and forced labor should not be rehabilitative services. Incarcerated people's relationship to work should not be one of exploitation and little to no agency. California needs to end slavery in every single form, including involuntary servitude now. And we need to give the voters the opportunity for our Constitution to reflect our values. Now, with me today to testify is Lawrence Cox on behalf of the Legal Services for Prisoners with Children, and Reverend Davis Wiles from St. Mark's United Methodist Church.
Thank you. You each have 2 minutes. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. I'd like to say thank you. It's an honor and it's a pleasure to be here. I'm here requesting your aye vote. I am system impacted. Like she said, my name is Lawrence. I am the Regional Advocacy and Organizing Associate for All of Us or None. I manage our 8 chapters throughout California. I'm also, I coordinate and lead our Coalition for Family Unity, which is a group of 30 nonprofit orgs that work in advocacy work throughout the state. I've spent the last 19 years of my life, I spent 17 of them incarcerated. I am a testament to what rehabilitation looked like. I've successfully discharged parole in conjunction with all the things that I just mentioned earlier. Like the member said, forced labor is not rehabilitation. I've been subjected to forced labor. I am system impacted, so I understand what it means not to have your own autonomy and your own agency. I understand what it means to be estranged from society, and I understand what rehabilitation courses do. I have been forced to work jobs and had jobs to where I couldn't get out those jobs. Even when I wanted to take my on-site college courses to complete my degree, forced labor was prioritized over my rehabilitation. And then the excuse that I was given, well, don't go to work and get 3 write-ups and then we'll drop you. So there's no opportunity for individuals incarcerated to choose what their priority and what their rehabilitation process actually looks like. I request just I vote. I think as a society, our constituents should be allowed to decide whether we want to still practice slavery, and we want our Constitution to say that we practice slavery. If we prioritize being a slave-free state, how can we allow the last few remnants of slavery? And that's, I'm going to keep calling it slavery and voluntary servitude, because let's just be honest, that's exactly what it is. So why are we here in 2024 still prioritizing allowing the last remnants of slavery to still exist and just say, okay, it's because they're convicted of a crime that they deserve to lose their humanity? And this bill is not about wages. This bill is just simply about autonomy. If you prioritize rehabilitation, we can't prioritize rehabilitation without giving individuals their own agency. You can't have a person trying to rehabilitate themselves and they can't make their own decisions. Because when we come into society, we're making our own decisions. There's no one forcing us to do anything. And it's not that people don't want to work. People want to work. No one wants to sit in a cell all the time. People want to be able to be moving and be active. No one wants to be subjected to a dark cell. But it's let me choose what I do. Let me choose what I work. If I want to go to school, let me go to school, because that's what's going to better me. That's what's going to help me increase my likelihood of maintaining gainful employment once I hit the street. And I plead with you to provide your I vote, because ACA is important. This is a historic moment. This is time for us to show, like we usually show the rest of the states, that we are progressive, that we support society, that we support humanity. And ACAA is a historic time and a historic opportunity for us to do so.
Thank you very much for your testimony. You also have 2 minutes.
Good afternoon, committee. My name is Reverend Quintisha Davis Wiles, and I just want to point out a couple of things. Before I came into my role as a clergy person, I spent over 2 decades as a clinical social worker working with polycomplex trauma in the inner cities, as well as an organizer working with dispossessed and disenfranchised communities. I understand the challenge before us as we look at this inherited language. The blessing and beauty of you as policymakers and legislators and decision makers is that you have an opportunity to make a difference. You inherited some language that is not yours. Our forefathers in the Declaration of Independence let us know that if we were to do anything in this country worthwhile, if we run up against any kind of systemic problem that is harmful or dispossesses any human being, we are to transform it through the vote of the people. And I invite you to remember that language. And I want to point out to you that incarcerated people still have rights and they have needs. They're vulnerable. Despite what we think, they have little to no power. And if we are going to be an example as a land of opportunity, if we're going to be an example as lawmakers, if we want rehabilitation to truly be a thing, we need to be mindful of this exception language that is still in our Constitution. It is glossy language. It is fluffy language that is meant to make people feel good under the guise of subjugation. There is no such thing as indentured servitude. It's called slavery. That doesn't change what it is because it is dressed up beautifully. My hope today is that you will support and pass ACA 8, the End Slavery in California Act, and remove the involuntary servitude language from the state's constitution. Correct this systemic evil, and I'm using the word evil on purpose. It is a social injustice. It needs to be abolished, and it's exploitive. We monetize bodies of incarcerated people under the guise of because they are the property of the state. They are not property. They're human beings. They deserve to be humanized. They deserve to have a choice to do their work. They deserve to be recompensed. So If they are going to work, I would ask us to consider what job training and credit looks like. If they're going to work, they need to put it on their resumes. When they come home, we need to equip them to transition back into society. Reentry doesn't start when they come home. Reentry starts before they leave there, and not just making an amends to whomever they offended, but it is building character, it is learning new skills, and it is having personal agency. And we all have an opportunity to help them make that difference. So I really do appeal to you to stay, to allow those folks who are incarcerated to be treated with dignity. ACA removes the last vestige of legalized involuntary servitude in California and can set the stage for rehabilitation and redemption. I don't have to tell you as senators, California is a game changer. People follow us. They look to us for leadership. Let's lead and make history. Let's remove slavery from our Constitution.
Thank you very much to both of you for your moving testimony. We're going to go to support witnesses now. And for support witnesses, we have a lot inside and outside. And we appreciate you coming to share your support for this. So it's name, title, and if you support.
Jesse Burleson, in custody program coordinator, legal services for prisons with children and all of us and none, 31 years incarcerated. I strongly support.
Thank you.
Denise Hearing on support of the California, Hawaii, and NAACP in strong support.
Ed Little on behalf of Californians for Safety and Justice in strong support.
Dylan Elliott on behalf of the San Francisco Board of Supervisors in support. Thank you.
Andy Liebenbaum on behalf of the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors in support.
Chris Lawson, Policy Manager, Anti-Recidivism Coalition in strong support. Also on behalf of the Coalition for a Just and Equitable California, Lineage Equity and Advancement Project, California Black Lineage Society, American Redress Coalition of California Bay Area, American Redress Coalition of California Sacramento, all in strong support, all co-sponsors, and of course on behalf of the GLIDE organization, all in strong support.
Jeronimo Aguilar here on behalf of Legal Services for Prisoners with Children, and all of us are none. We are very proud sponsors of this bill as well. Also wants to read off other co-sponsors: Interfaith Movement for Human Integrity, the Youth Leadership Institute, Bend the Arc, A New Way of Life, Caravan for Justice, Freedom for Youth, Legal Aid at Work, California Native Vote Project, the Formerly Incarcerated and Convicted People and Families Movement, Work Safe, Asian Prisoner Support Committee, and Abolish Bondage Collectively. Thank you.
Morning, Dora Rose, League of Women Voters of California, in very strong support. And I also have the proxy of Initiate Justice, also in strong support. Thank you.
Eugene Day, Policy Associate with the Crop Organization in support, and ARC Policy Team Member also in support.
Good morning. Thank you for your time and attention. Carmen Nicole Cox, Director of Government Affairs, ACLU California Action, proud co-sponsor.
Good morning, DeBray Sanders with Catalyst California and the Alliance for Reparations, Reconciliation, and Truth in strong support. Thank you.
Good morning, buenos dias. My name is Gabriel Anthony Murillo, formerly incarcerated. I'm with All of Us are None and LSPC. Fully support.
Annie Chow with the California Teachers Association in support.
Good morning, Keely O'Brien with Western Center on Law and Poverty, proud to be in strong support of ACA 8.
Good morning, Patty Shaw from Sacramento ACT and the 9 federations of Pico, California in strong support.
Hi, Evan Minton with Voices for Progress in strong support. Thank you.
Hello, Mark Sawyer with Sacramento ACT in strong support.
Reverend Steve Hong, ordained clergy with PCUSA, Sacramento ACT. Without respect to those who oppose this, with discrimination towards the poor and the oppressed, on behalf of God of Matthew 25, I support, and Janet Wynn is a coward.
Hi, John Cannon with Legal Services for Prisoners with Children and a member of All of Us are None, formerly incarcerated in strong support.
Raymond Goins. I've been enslaved since I was 15 years old. I'm a Silicon Valley debug, Coalition for Justice and Accountability, and the San Jose branch of the NAACP, and we support.
Jason Bartley on behalf of Anti-Recidivism Coalition, full support this ACA 8.
Jeffrey Keene with Anti-Recidivism Coalition in strong support.
Hello, my name is Mohammed Shajir, and I'm representing ARC, and I'm full support for this bill. Thank you.
Jack Castello, a member of the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, and I'm in strong support of this bill.
Cassie Schur, member of the ARC Coalition, in strong support.
My name is Jessica Robinson. I'm with the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, and I am in strong support.
Good morning, Yesenia Thomas, in support from ARC Sacramento.
Elizabeth Kim, formerly incarcerated lawyer and legislative director for Pico, California, in strong support.
Good morning, Glenn Backus for Ella Baker Center for Human Rights in strong support. Thank you.
Heather Swinor from ARC Anti-Recidivism Coalition Sacramento in strong support.
Good morning, Henry Ortiz, formerly incarcerated chapter organizer with All of Us in Sacramento and Legal Services for Prisoners with Children in strong support of ACA 8. Thank you.
Carlos Hernandez with Meatball Collective in strong support.
Hello, Austin Ocampo, formerly incarcerated UC Berkeley alumni, strong support.
Hi, I'm Rayvon Jones with Communities United for Restorative Youth Justice, or Courage, here as proud co-sponsors and strong support.
Hi, Nathan Salinas, formerly incarcerated with Courage. Hi, strongly support.
Hi, I'm Bernice Singh Rogers, an outside organizer with Initiate Justice and Inmate Family Council at Salinas Valley. I strongly support.
Hi, Jose Herrera from Courage. I strongly support.
Hi, Chinasa Mackey, here with Courage, and I strongly support.
Hello, Daisy Carrillo Lopez with Courage, and I strongly support.
Ruth McElhenney with St. Mark's United Methodist Church, I strongly support. Also a former staff member of the California Senate.
Deborah Sloan, staff attorney for Legal Services for Prisoners with Children and All of Us or None. I'm a constituent of Assemblyman Wilson, and I strongly support ACA. Thank you.
Lena Din, Legal Services for Prisoners with Children and All of Us or None, formerly incarcerated, in strong support.
Eileen Bell, volunteer for Legal Services for Children, and I very strongly support.
Jim Lindberg, Friends Committee on Legislation of California, in strong support.
Laura Larios, with Outside Organizing with Initiate Justice, and I strongly support.
Mavi Hadolagil with Legal Services for Prisoners with Children and strong support.
Hannah Kren with Legal Services for Prisoners with Children in strong support.
Good morning. My name is Brooke Lee. I'm with Legal Services for Prisoners with Children, and I am in strong support.
Good morning. My name is Mitra. I'm a member of Legal Services for Prisoners with Children and constituent of Senator Blackspear, and I'm in strong support.
Peace and blessings to you all. My name is Takwa Bonner. I'm the housing advocate for All of Us and None, which is a project of legal services for prisoners with children, and I'm in strong support.
I'm Sienna Coburn with Legal Services for Prisoners with Children in strong support.
Good morning. Robert Bowden on behalf of Legal Services for Prisoners with Children in strong support.
Hazel Watson, community organizer with SAC Act and strong support.
Sophie from ACT Sacramento, and I support ACA 8.
Sydney Fong on behalf of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders for Civic Empowerment and strong support.
My name is Noe Godino, and I'm here with Legal Services for Prisoners with Children and All of Us or None. I'm proud co-sponsors of this bill, and we in support.
I'm Christina Keene, Associate Director with Community Healers, and here with All of Us or None. I'm also a mother, and I have kids that are impacted by incarceration, including myself. Police arrested my son for no reason and then let him die on the floor in front of my daughter and told her it was normal. But I am in very strong support of this bill, and I ask that you guys continue doing the same. Thanks.
Alyssa Moore, Legal Services for Prisoners with Children, in strong support.
Well, thank you very much, everybody, for coming and expressing your support today. We will now move on to opposition witnesses. Are there any lead opposition witnesses? Seeing none, is there anyone in the room who would like to express opposition? Okay, I want to make sure and invite my two assembly colleagues to say anything if they wanted to. No? Okay. Would you like to? Yes, you may approach the microphone.
I'm Reggie Jones Sawyer, past chair of the California Legislative Black Caucus and a member of the task force that brought this to you. And I'm firmly, I spent 2 years of my life working on this, bringing this to, and I thank the Assemblywoman for bringing it in. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. We're happy to see Assemblymember Jones Sawyer and Weber here. Thank you for coming. With that, we'll turn it back to my colleagues if anybody would like to make any comments. Yes, Senator Allen.
Well, I just want to thank the author for working really hard with both the administration and with the committee on this issue. And I understand the conversations are going well. And I think in the end of the day, as we discussed on a totally different matter yesterday, it's all about implementation and trying to create a system that works for the state. And so I think that those conversations are vitally important. It's part of what's going to get this thing across the finish line successfully. And I'm happy to hear about the progress. I encourage you to keep those conversations going. And it's with that understanding, I'm happy to support the bill today.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And I would also like to thank the author. It's really important that our foundational document of the Constitution reflect our highest ideals. And I applaud you for carrying this forward. And I want to thank everybody who came today to speak. Yes, and Senator Umberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I associate myself with your comments, but just a couple of questions here with respect to work assignments.
Right.
As I understand it, that someone who is incarcerated could still be required to, in essence, take care of their personal space. Is that right?
Yes, that is not considered a work assignment. That is just.
And the same thing with a common area that they may, for example, they may use. Is that right?
For a common area that they may use, we're still working with the administration and the department. Well, when I say administration, I'm talking about the department on clarifying that. We do have a companion bill, AB 628, that will address where the Constitution is not clear. As you know, our Constitution is like usually set statements, and then we provide greater clarification or guardrails, so to speak, within the companion bill. So we are looking to ensure that that is more clear within the companion bill.
All right. And the same thing, for example, with respect to carrying one's tray from the mess hall to wherever one is required to carry it for purposes of just efficiency in the dining hall. That's
not considered a work assignment. So there's work assignment. So right now in our because of the involuntary servitude exception as it relates to punishment of a crime, we have in our section 2700, we have language that says shall require incarcerated person or prisoner to do a faithful, I think, day's labor or work. And so we're centered around that language. And so cleaning up your own personal space is not considered work today. Carrying a tray is not considered work. Where you get into work is, and it'll be defined. We're asking the CDCR to create a voluntary work program. So there will be some public scrutiny to the regulations associated with it. But what we're really looking at is something that is today classified as work, that now being voluntary, versus something that today is not classified as work, just being in the prison itself would not be traditionally included. But that is something that will be clarified in the companion bill as well as in the very public process as it relates to the regulations and rulemaking of CDCR.
So thank you. And I do think this is important that we, as a statement of values, incorporate this into our Constitution. And I look forward to further definition before it comes to the floor, as we're making legislative history and defining our legislative intent right now.
Yeah.
We don't want to have to spend lots of money and time in court sort of parsing through some of this. So I would be grateful if we could come to definition and understanding so that it doesn't create unnecessary litigation.
No, absolutely, and that's my own disposition as a legislator. I want to legislate and not send things to the courts. And so you have my commitment that within the companion bill and wherever else we need to provide greater clarification. I think even amongst the coalition's side, there's angst about some of the words because they're new words, and every time we put a new word in, whether it's our Constitution or law, can create some ambiguity if it has not been defined. And so wherever we can, we will seek to absolutely do that. And that's why I firmly believe that the companion bill that is based on the passage of ACA 8 is extremely important, just as important as ACA 8 is.
Okay. Well, thank you. And I know you're a person of your word. We've worked together on a number of pieces of legislation. So thank you for bringing this forward. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Would you like to close, Assembly Member?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for the question and then the comments from my colleague, Senator Allen. And I'd like to thank the COBC members who were able to be present today. It is a busy time, but this shows just how important it is. This is, as I stated in the beginning, this is a part of our reparations priority package. This came out of the task force. This has been attempted in various ways. Senator Bradford has been a leader on the floor on the Senate side in this space. Our colleague who is now Congresswoman Kamala Dove carried ACA 3, and we couldn't get it across the finish line. And we as a caucus said that we were going to bring this back next year. And so people like to laud me as author introing it, but I did it because I'm chair of the Black Caucus, and we as a caucus decided that this would be a priority in this legislative session. So I appreciate my colleagues as of the Black Caucus as joint authors in this endeavor. We believe it is extremely important because the legacy of slavery and forced labor runs deep in California's history, from exploitation of indigenous people in Spanish missions to Black slaves forced to mine for gold. And today, as was noted, we have a historic opportunity to take a step in the direction towards ending that legacy. I said in my opening remarks that the U.S. Department of State has a list of involuntary servitude or forced labor of modern forms of slavery. But none of those we would not consider child trafficking or sex trafficking state sanctioned. The use of child prisoners state sanctioned. But involuntary servitude in prison right now, because of our Constitution, is state sanctioned slavery. And so with that, I ask you to have a historic aye vote of ending slavery in California and voting an aye. Thank you.
Thank you, Assembly Member. Do we have a motion on this? Senator Umberg, thank you. So the measure has been moved by Senator Umberg. It is be adopted as amended to appropriations. Assistant, please call the roll.
Senators Blakespear?
Aye.
Blakespear, aye. Wen? Allen? Aye. Allen, aye. Menjivar? Aye. Menjivar, aye. Newman?
Aye.
Newman, aye. Portantino? Umberg?
Aye.
Umberg, aye.
Well, thank you. It is 5-0, and we will leave it on call. Thank you. Thank you. So we, thank you. So we will lift the call on the remaining items. So if you are a member of this committee and you need to come down here to vote, please make your way right away. We'll wait for the room to clear just for a second.